Hey guys, welcome to our YouTube channel, Kels and Betsy, where we talk about raising capital, investing with purpose. I'm your host, Kalisha Carter. I always forget my last name. And then I have my co-host,
Betsy.
Betzy.
Hey, everyone. We are very happy to be here. I think we always get like amped up, like, hey, let's go, let's do this. And then we have like awesome, inspiring conversations. But I think that's what makes it like so awesome and fun.
It is, man. This episode is gonna be extremely. I mean, I think we say this about every single episode, but it's always good when we bring on an expert and they can share their insights of how they're running business, how they are raising capital and investing with purpose. So we're just gonna, before we even dive right into it, we have a special announcement.
Are we doing our announcement? No, okay. A disclaimer for all our audience out there, our audio audience and our visual audience. This following information is for educational purposes only. Please do your own diligence. We do not provide financial, legal, or professional advice, even though we do bring professionals and experts on here. So if you do need someone, please reach out or come to our lives. We bring them on our lives and we can ask some questions there for free.
And then even our guests, guys, just keep in mind they are just sharing their experience, what they have experienced in their business, and just giving insights. As Betsy always say, take it with a grain of salt.
It's different, like especially with creative deals, and we do them all the time, right? So like, they could change drastically from one thing to the next.
Yeah. So let's welcome Brayton Furlong. Hey
guys, how's it going?
Not bad. What's going on?
Thanks so much for having me. I've been watching you guys' podcast. It's awesome. I love what you guys are doing. Just stoked to be a part of this world. It's exciting to be around other investors who are inspired, doing deals and learning and helping each other. I mean, that's what it's all about. So just stoked to be here.
I gotta point this out. It's weird because it's normal. Like I always see Brayton and his partner cry. What happened with Jess?
Jess had something come up today. She couldn't be here, but we'll definitely be seeing you guys soon. Hopefully we'll hop on another one in the future.
Oh, yes. Soon.
She's definitely the better half. She's in this as much as I am. We obsess about real estate together. We're watching, podcasts till midnight and first thing in the morning doing Zoom. So we're both all in. So
I love it.
Grateful to have a partner who, is in it with me. So
listen, I always like when I first met you guys at the Raising Private Money conference last week, like they're like, bam. And even after following them on Instagram, it's like the true definition of a team. Of just how you guys like collaborate with each other. Like this is my strength, that's your strength. And then when you guys put both of your strengths together, it's phenomenal the things that you guys have been doing. So kudos to you guys. And Jess, I know you're not here, but you'll be watching this. Shout out to you, girl, for doing your thing. That's really good. But let's just dive right in. Just briefly introduce yourself in terms of how you got into real estate, how you got into raising private capital for your real estate projects.
Awesome. Yeah. So we're from Santa Cruz, California. We bought our first starter home in 2017. It was a total tear down cottage on a big lot. And everyone was trying to encourage us to buy like a townhome or a condo, but we stuck to our guns. We wanted something we could either add to or develop. And we knew we wanted to have rentals someday. From the first time we met, my wife, Jessica, was talking about having a rental out in Spain. So we've always kind of romanticized the idea of having rentals and some passive income as life went on. But fast forward to a couple of years ago, we kind of hyper focused on short-term rentals with the laws out here in California, with kind of like the rent moratoriums and all the stuff going on. We just kind of felt that short-term rentals was the direction we wanted to go. It seemed like one of the only ways to make properties cash flow in California. And it seemed like we, as owners, you have a lot more rights being a short-term rental host in California. You can enter the property, you can remove people from the property, and you can clean it and maintain it between guests and keep it in like for sale ready condition like at all times. So we really like that model. But to be honest, we've traveled a bunch, staying in Airbnbs all over. So we also knew that we thought it was a cool business, and we said, I think we could really enjoy this. My wife loves design, so we have a lot of complementing strengths. So
she's really good with the design of it.
Absolutely.
Her
Yeah.
attention to detail in her face is great.
Loves it. She's got a really good eye of to bring it home too, and not kind of get halfway through a project and get distracted, but really bring a cohesive kind of vision all the way to completion. But yeah, so anyway, we kind of did a house hack on our first one, turned it into our first short-term rental, did a mentorship program, which kind of we went into it wanting just to launch our first short-term rental and kind of just do that well. And when we came out of that wanting to have a bunch of them, and we kind of had a totally different mindset coming out of that mentorship, and we've just been pursuing that ever since. And we got into raising private capital, obviously, and we're targeting, kind of leaning more towards creative now just because of the market, and that really excites us. Kind of like engineering deals and just figuring out ways to put the puzzle together. I really enjoy that part of it. So that really excites me. And I think there's really no deal that can't be done with creative or having all the different tools in your toolbox. So yeah, we're just passionate. We love what we're doing, and we're still learning, obviously, a ton. So yeah, that's where we're at.
I love it. I love it. I think I got super excited and we'll go into this as well, like the breakdowns of how you guys got this deal. When they got their first creative deal in Pigeon Board. That's the same cabin that we're referring to, Betzy, that we just went live with. How did that feel to get the first creative deal?
Yeah, so man, so the last year we were pursuing a bunch of boutique motels. We've actually submitted a bunch of offers, a bunch of seller finance offers, and we kind of were dabbling in it, but we didn't really have much creative finance education.
Yeah.
We started watching a bunch of Paces content and getting more educated, but honestly, we weren't a part of Sub 2 yet, and honestly, just started cold calling some realtors, direct to agent, which I know is kind of being a glutton for punishment, because most of them kind of stonewall you. It can be challenging, and if you're not really really good at negotiating creative finance, it's an extra layer of challenge, multiple extra layers, because sometimes you're working with the selling agent, the buying agent. By the time you're not even talking to the seller, you have no idea what the pain points are. I mean, there's a lot of challenges, but with this one, it just clicked right away. And he put me in touch. I talked with the seller. We talked for about an hour and a half and kind of negotiated the whole thing. And I sent him over a purchase agreement like the next day. Got a transaction coordinator on board, Rochelle Jarvis, and she helped, because we're new as our first deal. So she helped walk us through it as well, which was really awesome. I'm super grateful that she did that with us. And she advised us, and we just took the deal from purchase agreement to closing, all subject to, in 30 days, and renovated it for 2 months, and now we have it listed as our short-term rental.
That's amazing.
It's like, woo.
And so, do you guys want to hear more about the deal?
Oh yeah, so all the beans. I know you guys use private money for that deal, so tell us everything about it.
Okay, yeah. So, like, a little rewind. We've been actively raising private capital this year, and so we had some people kind of on deck, and we've built up an email list which we send out with deal flow and different properties we're interested in bringing on, opportunities for lenders to come on with us. And so we had a little bit of some people on deck. And then when we locked this deal up in contract, we started promoting it on Instagram, lending opportunities, sending out emails. And one of our contacts reached out and said, I'm in. And so we brought one in at first. We ended up bringing a second one in as a buffer. So we ended up having two on this deal. So we had about 150,000 total private money on this deal, just to give us a little cushion. But
so,
go ahead.
So before we even go deeper into it, so use 150 for the private money. So that 150 using two persons? Did you do like a first, a second, and a third lien? Did you put them in an LLC? How did you structure that deal?
That's what I was gonna ask.
So we did with one of them was a smaller amount, so we did a personal guarantee on that one because we have a relationship with them and we didn't want to add them on as a lien position for this. So that worked well for them, and we were able to negotiate that. Obviously, we have all the other documents in place as well. So yeah, and the other one is on. Yeah, the other one is on as a second lien position, and so he'll be in for a year commitment, but at 10%. So
Yeah. Planning to cash out that PML at the end of 12 months.
Yeah, that's one of the options. But what's cool, I mean, kind of where we're at with these deals is there's so many different ways to structure them and so many different exit strategies, as you guys know on creative, right? There's like this property could be sold as a wrap later. We could swap this PML out with another PML if we wanted to leave someone in. And since we're at 10%, you know, if you were to compare it to like a 50-50 partnership, equity split, and cash flow split, honestly, the 10% is still really good for us as investors. Like our cash flow is greater at that. And then the property, you know, really like going into this deal, we underwrote it, you know, considering the private money, considering the renovation, all the holding costs, and we funded the whole thing. We didn't use any of our own capital. So our flights out there, everything was covered through our private money raise. But we factor that in, and the cash flow supports all of that. So it's a pretty sweet deal. We're definitely excited about it. And yeah, it's going good.
I love how you mentioned that you factored in all those costs. Because when people hear about getting into short-term rental and they think it's just the clean and the utility. When using private money, you need to account for, okay, if the cash flow is 4,000, what's the mortgage rent? What is utilities? Yes, the HOA. What is the amount that we're giving to the PML at what rate? Then when you account for all those costs, that's when you know your true cash flow amount and your ROI, which I love that you mentioned that. And it's genius that you really have to cover your expenses.
And it works really well. And like so a couple other projects we did were more the burster model, and we used all our own capital then. We were leveraging ourselves, and that was great. But as interest rates have shifted and the market's changed a bit, that model is no longer really, it's hard to make it work. You know, it's hard to get your money out. But we've also learned through more, you know, kind of furthering our education and going down the rabbit hole of creative finance and raising private capital is that philosophy and that burster method is great in certain markets, but there's so many other ways to do deals. And there's so many other exit strategies that you don't really have to stick on one. There's so many different options. So going into it with an open mind and kind of engineering like, hey, we could do this, we could do that. And we kind of present that to our PMLs, and we're very upfront, like, hey, this is our plan, but we could also do A, B, C, or D as well in the future. And if you need your money out sooner, we have these options, and we kind of go over that with people so that they're comfortable, and we're very upfront about that.
We love that, especially because like we are very creative, especially, and well, we're creative in everything we do, structuring our deals, structuring for our private money lenders to come in. Even for our own stuff, we're very creative. And now, how would you mitigate the risk when a private money lender is coming to you and telling you like, well, I do want to invest, but like I know that there's risk involved, but like how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely are upfront. We tell them that, you know, no investments, obviously there's risk with every investment and nothing's guaranteed, but then we go over you know, how we underwrite our deals, our experience managing short-term rentals remotely and using technology, and kind of all the things we do within our business that kind of adds confidence. And then we talk about the different exit strategies and our network of investors nationwide and other private money lenders, and as well as our mentors who we can lean on and use as resources. So we kind of go over all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you know, investing has risks. But again, we build confidence with all these controls we put in place to kind of mitigate that risk. And honestly, you know, our mindset is our private money lenders' money is more important than ours. So at the end of the day, they would be made whole regardless of any circumstance. So That's kind of our commitment. And we wouldn't be raising private capital if we didn't believe in our model and our underwriting and our numbers. I mean, at the end of the day, we don't want to get into bad deals. We don't want to have hundreds of thousands of dollars tied up in bad deals either. So do our best to get the good ones and make it all work.
When you're presenting your deals to lenders, I know sometimes they want to see what's the expected income, what's the expected expenses. Do you show the net cash? Do you share how much you're gonna be making on that deal?
It kind of depends on the private money lender. Some of them are going to invest or lend regardless, and they're not interested in the details, but they have confidence in us, but they don't understand real estate investing enough to really even know. If we showed them the spreadsheets and stuff, some of them are more interested, so we kind of take it on a case-to-case basis. I really enjoy showing them the whole breakdown and our whole strategy if they're interested in that, but some people, it overwhelms them and can kind of almost freak them out a bit. So case-to-case basis. We definitely offer that. Absolutely.
That makes sense. You had deals and see how much money they're gonna make, like the investor's gonna make, and they kind of someone gonna get super greedy about. They're like, oh, I want to make more money. We're like, hey, but that's it. We make this amount of money. Your amount is guaranteed because it's kind of like an expense that we have to pay. So I run into that roadblock before, so that's why I asked you that.
Yeah, totally. And I've had some contacts who are interested in private money lending, but who are also seem more interested in having an equity piece and being a partner. And I've kind of had a couple meetings with people like that, and they almost make more as a private money lender with less risk and less involved than coming in as a partner sometimes. And so after kind of breaking that all down for them, explaining like, hey, if we can do a partnership thing, we can split the cash flow, but we're also going to split expenses, holding costs, if the stove breaks, anything else with the property, if we have vacancy, that we might have to throw some money back in the bank account. And so I'm kind of upfront about that as well. And it comes down to like, you have time or money, right? So a lot of our private money lenders have some capital. They don't have the time to learn to become short-term rental investors. So
that's a very awesome way to put it. Like I like that visualization. Like, yes, if you're going to be an equity partner, you get to be part of this property, but you also have to cash in the expenses.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not a person just good part of it, so that's good.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I mean, we'd like to do some equity partnerships on bigger deals, like maybe boutique motels, properties that the cash flow really supports that. But then also we really like kind of manage them and running in the way we feel that we've learned works well, using our instincts based on our education. So kind of having that control to make sure this property is successful, because if you're not managing them well, I mean, they might not do as good as you wanted, and we want to make sure they do well. So that's important, I think, as well. To have those JV agreements in place, clearly define everyone's roles, and do that before there's any money exchanged.
Yeah, I like telling them that you're gonna be a silent partner. Because if you're super silent, you're not doing anything at all, and I put that in writing. So you know, like, I'm running the day to day. I'm making the decision because you don't have any experience in doing it. So why do I need to rely on you to make certain decisions? You're just coming as the partner.
And you're doing a motel, right? You have a motel deal you just got into, right?
With the guys,
yeah. Right on. Congrats.
Pretty good. Mainly that. We just assisted as much as we could.
I look forward to hearing more about that one.
Now we're doing rental, so we're gonna stop by earlier today. Trying to get it ready.
Right on.
Convert everything. Go ahead, Betzy.
I had a question. I was just wondering what you do for your credibility piece for your current money lenders to like, what do you have for them to see you and see what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a few different things we do. We have our Instagram, of course, social media stuff, which you kind of can't live without these days. And then we have kind of like a pitch deck or kind of presentation packet. We have a couple different ones that when we're kind of first talking to private money lenders, we kind of go over a high level presentation, which it's all branded, and we have info on kind of our business and our team and some photos, and kind of just high level go over what private money lending is. And then as we kind of, as that relationship grows and they become more serious, we kind of go over specific deals and get more into the underwriting and stuff like that. We kind of highlight our teams and our success with our other properties to kind of help, give them confidence in our business. But at the end of the day, we don't want to work with people we don't vibe with, and there isn't a good connection with. I mean, we don't just, if someone came with $5 million, but then wanted to micromanage everything and call me every 5 minutes, I wouldn't want to work with them. I want to work with people who have confidence in us and believe in us, and it's a good fit, right?
That's important.
Oh, that makes sense.
We're not asking, we're presenting opportunity, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
That's it.
As much as we need the money, this is an opportunity that we're presenting. So even when you structure these deals, like, how do you maintain the communication, like during the entire process until you close, and even after? What are you doing to stay in contact with these lenders?
Yeah, so we have a custom email chain for each deal. So we'll have those specific private money lenders on that deal, and then we'll have a nice branded email that we send out monthly with project updates and just details on the deal, some photos, sometimes videos, different clips from the project. And then after the project's completed, we'll switch to quarterly, like every few months, send out an update on how the property's performing.
How are you using this? Tell me more.
Yeah.
That's what so far that's been working good for us.
What's the software are you using?
So we have a Squarespace website that I built for us, and then we're using the built-in marketing campaigns inside of there to create pretty cool branded templates and stuff. So definitely.
And who sends all the updates?
Usually me, but we both do.
Yeah. Just going. Oh, I didn't look into that. I've used Squarespace before, and I was like, yeah, there are so many limitations, so I moved from Squarespace. But we'll definitely look back into that to see. So there's another guys, Squarespace. If you guys are looking to tie everything in and communicate with your lenders and projects, I like that you're doing that too. So that's pretty good.
I would say I've been using Squarespace for years. I've built like 7 websites on there, like for my band and my other businesses. So I've gotten pretty good at using it. The one thing I really like about them is they're always improving, and they're very like kind of graphic design, like beautiful oriented. So if you want websites that look beautiful and you don't mind playing around with building them, it's a good way to go. But you do have to do your own SEO and kind of all that technical side. But they have a lot of cool softwares that integrate with your phone. Like they basically have their own version of Linktree that you can have all branded just to match your website. So everything can be super cohesive, and it makes it really easy, and it's all kind of different upsells within the software.
Well,
Definitely
to look into that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they have a lot of great templates to start with. So I mean, you guys have beautiful branding already, but what do you guys use?
We use Card. We have so many different integrations that we're using, because we use Card for the website, then we use what's it called? Betzy for the email marketing. Get Response.
Okay.
So we use those.
Yeah, we use ClickUp as our CRM, but I think it's like we kind of just started. We're that type of people that we just like, we have an idea and we run with it. So it's like whatever program we can get that's like available and it's not that expensive, we just go.
Yeah,
go.
It works. It works.
That's the way to be, right? Just take action, right?
Yeah.
Because then the ClickUp tool really helps us to keep organized. We're able to see all the projects that we're working on. The status is: are we reviewing paperwork? Are we waiting on funding? And then we know like what lenders connected to it. So now we're trying to integrate where whenever we update the status or the pipeline for that particular project, that lender also gets that update.
Ooh.
So that's what we're trying to figure out, how we can all those together. Because right now we will just email the lender, just say, hey, this is what's happening, or we'll just send a text message. Because some lenders we have that relationship with, but now we're trying to integrate everything into like one software. Because after a while, too, it's a lot.
I love that idea. I mean, yeah, just make it more efficient, more seamless, more organized, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
It can get like a lot, and it's the two of us.
Right.
It's really just the two of us. That's the thing. It's a lot of work, but I think it will be worth it. It will be
Absolutely.
worth it than putting someone on.
And we really, really love what we do. Like, it doesn't, I mean, there's some days that we're like exhausted, or that we're just like, oh my gosh, this week has been full. It's full of things, but I know that like every week we start and we do I feel like Money Mondays has become our like refresher. It's the day that we come live and we're like, hey, like we're just hanging out and learning, and just talking to all of you guys have been really inspiring.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, it shows you guys are passionate about what you're doing, and it's inspiring. So keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you tell us about one more deal before we wrap up? One deal that you got using private money, and how you structured that deal with private money.
So we had I'll talk about this one, but it ended up, because it's a good comparison to using creative, but it's a deal that ended up falling through. But we spent 2 months on a boutique motel. It was a 5-unit boutique motel in Big Bear, California, and we were approaching it using SBA financing. So talk about the most thorough process for getting funding I've ever experienced. And we wrote a full business plan and all these projections, and it was extensive, but we feel like we learned a ton, honestly, because we learned kind of how to underwrite a property like that, a commercial property, from the SBA's perspective. So I think we came out of it knowing a lot more, even though the deal ended up not working out due to some details on the seller's side with the SBA not wanting to fund due to the way they filed taxes. Really some interesting stuff. But we raised about $250,000 private capital for that, and we had them on deck for that. So that was a huge accomplishment for us to go through that process. So
that's good. So with raising that $250,000, right now, I want to learn more. How did you find those people? And were those like soft commitments? Like, how did you pitch that deal?
So we kind of did the same exact thing. We were doing our email blast to our kind of email list that we've been building. And we had, some people, a lot of the people have come on board as lenders so far, at least, have been in our network already. People we didn't even think would be interested in something like that. And we started talking about what we were doing and showing content about our and then people started reaching out. And that's been our best tool so far for accessing. Yeah.
I love it. And are you doing anything to like build your list? Like, I know some person would be like, oh, check out our website and join our mailing list. Like, how are you really trying to build that list?
I'll reach out to people and ask them if they're interested in me adding them on. So I'm trying to always add people on, and then I'll send it to people. We'll throw it through our social media pretty regularly to try to get people to jump on. So it's a slow grow, but
oh, trust me, we get it.
Yeah.
We get it a lot. So we're always trying to build our list as well. And even like what we've done is, if we go to events, like any meetups or anything like that, and we get someone's contact, we immediately go in and just add them to our mailing list based on the conversation we have. Like, let's pull this person in our mailing list, because even if what we're sending out doesn't work for them, we don't know, they can forward that email to a friend.
Absolutely.
So we're like, whatever is it that works, man.
Yeah, and it seems like the more you're out there, the better these days, right? All the different channels, everything, just talking about stuff. And so it's funny. So at first, Jessica and I were kind of going more the old school, like, we want to have properties, but we're not going to talk about it, because that was more of our approach before we joined one of our mentorships. And then we kind of just embraced, like, all right, I was already doing social media with my other businesses for years, but with real estate, we were scared, and we were newer, and we were like, we didn't know if we should be talking about owning properties, you're worried about liability reasons and stuff like that, you know.
I
But
understand.
we had to just get over that and just embrace it. Like, hey, you know, if people don't know what you're doing, then how are they going to know? They don't know what they don't know. And if you're not showing them, then how are you going to raise private capital if no one even knows you're a real estate investor? So that was kind of what led us to start talking about it.
You're so right. You're like right 1,000%. Sometimes you think about it, oh, I don't want to brag, or I'm not doing enough, or I'm not that expert, so I don't want to share it. But as you said, like you gotta post something so someone can see that you're actually doing something. It doesn't have to be perfect. So at
Exactly.
least you're in that space. What's one tip or advice would you give to anyone who's looking to get into real estate or already in real estate and looking to raise private capital?
Hmm. I mean, definitely, if you've never raised private capital before, I mean, call someone who does or reach out, you know, and have a conversation. Um, you just want to get educated, and make sure you have kind of the foundation in place before you are raising private capital. I think it's a cool concept, and I think everyone likes the idea of being able to use money for a deal and having access to capital. But make sure you go and kind of learn the foundational stuff with contracts and all that as well, so you can execute while raising private money. Mentorships are always a great way to go. People have been doing it for a long time, so find someone who you resonate with and ask if you can learn from them, you know, or help them in a way. And, you know,
No, you're right 1,000%, especially with that mentorship aspect of things. That has helped me a ton.
Yeah, building
Um,
the community,
yeah,
your
absolutely.
community, your own circles.
Yeah, absolutely.
no,
And then
Brittany,
overthink it. Don't overthink it, you know, just take action. That's the big one, is like, you
can
know,
you just can you
I think
say
the
that?
best thing is like learn it enough. I mean, like when we got that first subsidy deal we just talked about, it was like I was watching Pace's content and some other people on YouTube, reading some books and stuff. And then we were like, hey, we don't know it all, but
Mhm.
I'm going to call this person anyway and go for it. Right. And then we learned so much through the process. And so I think it goes with everything, is don't get stuck just learning and reading books. Because if you don't practice what you're learning, you'll forget it. You'll lose it. And, you know,
Yeah,
you'll lose momentum. So
That's so right.
taking action. And not every deal is going to be perfect. Not all of them are going to have these huge cash on cash returns. And, you know, that's okay too. You know, it's like dollar cost, you know, averaging. I mean, you got to just keep building them up, keep doing deals. And at least that's what I see the successful investors doing. So I'm following their lead.
because you really learn a lot of process. A lot of the things that you're trying to get ready for, like what if, to have the answers ready, all of that goes through the window. But when you're in it, you start to learn something completely different, and then you're stuck, and you're like, okay, I don't know this. I need to go find the answer. So you're looking for something specific, and then you're retaining stuff more, and then you hit another roadblock, and that way you're really figuring it out, and
Yeah.
you won't forget it.
Yeah.
No.
And I think that goes in what we started doing, Felicia and I, with our podcast, with our content, because we are learning as we go and we're teaching as we go. And we've been learning a lot more and very quickly. Um, very quickly.
I love that.
Now
Yeah.
we pull
That's the biggest difference.
my internet is giving so much issues today. I don't know what's
Little,
going on.
Yeah, we're what you said.
When you hear what other persons are doing, it doesn't have to be the exact thing, but just hearing how a person's more structured and deal, you take a little piece of it
Mhm.
and you incorporate it in your business. Because that's where you get so creative that way. Because you're looking at a deal, you're like, oh, this person did this before. We can try this. And that person did this, and we put everything together. And it makes sense because we're learning as well. Asking these questions, hearing you share your stories and everything like that. So
Getting
as
it.
much as we're getting inspired,
I know.
this is good. But no,
Absolutely.
God, I hope that you guys found a lot of value in this episode. Brayton, their Insta handle will be in the description, and then if you find any value, have questions or anything like that, you guys can leave a comment below. Like this video if you enjoyed it actually, And then if you guys want to follow us or hang on, the will be in the description. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you everyone for watching, for listening. Remember, we're available on anywhere that you actually listen to your podcast. Feel free to leave a review as well. Leave a review. Let us know what you guys think. Share this episode with somebody else. And we're just happy to provide value. And on to the next one. Go ahead, Betzy.
I was going to say, and join our email list since we were talking about that. Get on our website, join our email list, see our updates. We send all types of updates.
See what we got going on. We share the ideas that we have. We share like tips about private money lending. If you're interested in using your retirement accounts, we give you insights on that too and how to do it. And now we're actually even forgot about this. We're starting a webinars. Webinars are sharing the private money process. We're bringing on different speakers as well for you to have like conversations with. So again, providing value as much as you guys can, and we are learning as well.
Thank you, Brayton, for being here with us.
Thanks so much, Betzy, Kalisha. I really appreciate you guys. Look forward to seeing you at
Jack, you're here, but thank you so much too. You're a phenomenal woman. She's amazing. But we'll definitely have you guys on the next episode. So
look forward
thank you guys so much. And
thanks so much.
See you.